Hello, everyone. I'm Jean-Claude at BeyondMystic, and welcome to this very, very, very special deep woo-woo episode of Tarot Readings by Janine. You can find Janine when she's not in jail here at Sending Ravens on YouTube and also at Tarot by Janine. Janine, welcome back to the show. There's a lot going on today, Janine.
Hi, Jean-Claude. Hi, everybody. Yeah, there sure is. It's going to be hard to get through it all, that's for sure.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being patient. We're a few minutes late here. We have a humongous slide deck for tonight, and there's things happening as we're speaking now, and Janine are trying to do her best to collate all of this together. Now, let me just tweet and post also, because there's still people I see now looking for this episode on Janine's channel. They haven't got the message yet, so let me just post that back here on both channels. And if you guys have social media channels as well, please put up this link also, whether on your Twitter or your Instagram, letting people know that the episode is only here tonight on Beyond Mystic, seeing as Janine is still in jail. Now, all right, Janine, the big news of today, of course, the breaking news, the UK basically lifting or ending all of the COVID restrictions. So I'm going to start by playing this clip here by Prime Minister Boris Johnson, or his lookalike or double. At any rate, this is a message from Parliament, ostensibly also from the Crown, and we'll get to why we're saying the Crown and not the Queen here in a moment. But let's first listen to this clip for the audience.
Plan A in England and allow Plan B regulations to expire. As a result, from the start of Thursday next week, mandatory certification will end. Organisations can, of course, choose to use the NHS COVID pass voluntarily, but we will end the compulsory use of COVID status certification in England. From now on, the government is no longer asking people to work from home. And people should now speak to their employers about arrangements for returning to the office. And having looked at the data carefully, the Cabinet concluded that once regulations lapse, the government will no longer mandate the wearing of face masks anywhere. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, from tomorrow we will no longer require face masks in classrooms, and the Department for Education will shortly remove national guidance on their use in communal areas. In the country at large, we will continue to suggest the use of face coverings in enclosed or crowded spaces, particularly when you come into contact with people you don't normally meet, but we will trust the judgment of the British people and no longer criminalise anyone who chooses not to wear one. The government will also ease restrictions further on visits to care homes, and my right honourable friend, the Secretary of State for Health and Social Care, will set out plans in the coming days. Mr. Speaker, as we return to Plan A, the House will know that some measures still remain, including those on self-isolation.
Okay, let me bring the volume back down here. Janine, the big takeaway of course, there is the passport itself, the removal of that, and the consequences of that, which he's not talking about here in the speech, is the cancellation or the ending of prosecution of those people who were unwilling. And I'm still going to choose my words carefully here tonight, folks. The censors and the algos, some of them have not received the memos yet. So we're still going to choose our words. So first, my reactions today, Janine, I'll ask you for yours here. When I first saw this earlier this morning, I thought it was a deep fake. I wasn't even sure about it. I didn't even tweet it. And then I'm like, oh no, this is on the BBC website. Oh no, this is on AP News. Holy crap, this is real. This is the end, or at least the beginning of it. Janine, your thoughts?
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I looked at it and I was like, oh my goodness, it's about time. I mean, a lot of people are saying things like, well, this is just the end of that, but the beginning of the climate issue. Now they're going to start gearing up the fear around that. But if we've been right about what's been going on in the background, they don't have the wherewithal to do that. They don't have the manpower, the dark cult or the deep state. So I'm hoping we don't see any of that silliness.
Very good. And so as that was happening also in the last 24 hours, we also saw Israel starting to backtrack also on what they call their green pass. So basically signaling also there that the prosecuted will no longer be persecuted. And also in Scotland, I believe was the other one. Let me scroll back down. A lot of stuff in the news today. I had another one, but Scotland is there somewhere as well. So that's interesting because here in Canada, apparently our faithful servant to the Queen has not yet gotten the memo. Here he's digging in his heels and defending his decision here for the mandates for the cross-border truckers, even amid supply chain issues and concerns right now. So that's interesting. And this article also is very concerning for Canada. Here, the polls are finding that more than a quarter of Canadians are supporting the jailing of the unwilling. Clearly, they didn't get the memo yet that there's no more persecution here of the unwilling. Now, this article is interesting on top. I want to go there very quickly with you and look at this. Now, there were calls yesterday night and this morning to the Prime Minister's cabinet. Let me see if I can bring that link back up on the screen. If I can find it. Guys, there's a lot going on tonight. Where did it go? Of course, I don't have it. There's a lot of stuff. Here we go. Now, there's a lot of code talk here about Ukraine. And of course, you saw in the last slide there from National News Watch that Trudeau is hinting that Putin is looking for any excuse to invade Ukraine. And now they have all of these conversations late last night and this morning with cabinet ministers about strategic positioning here in Ukraine. As I was reading that, Janine, my ears were on fire because of this episode. You and I just recorded, see if we can bring this one on the screen now. Yesterday, our pay-per-view analysis and investigation of Kazakhstan. And we're basically reporting there that the capital of the Illuminati has indeed fallen. So when I hear Ukraine, I'm thinking maybe these are the code words for our mainstream media, but really what they're trying to do is send equipment and troops to maybe recapture that fallen capital of the Illuminati in next door neighbor Kazakhstan. Let's ask the cards if that perhaps is part of the strategy there from the DS, the bad guys, so to speak, either to foment something with Russia to turn the tables here on this crashing narrative, or also maybe to try to reinforce their elongated skull friends in Kazakhstan.
Not really getting that.
Okay.
So we've got the three of, okay, I think Kazakhstan is a big center where they made the party substance. Okay, because I always get that party substance card around it. And the this Knight of Cups is sort of like heading in that direction or putting their energy in that direction. And you're asking, are they going to the aid of? So that would make sense. But then I've got this and this card around it, which is like, they don't have, so even if they were posturing that, they don't have, they have nothing backing it up. So they might be posturing that, keep on the good side, or just to look like they're still working for the DS, as you called it. But they got nothing. They're not, it'll totally fizzle out. So I guess in a way that's a yes. They want to rescue that center because it's where a lot of their income was coming from, it looked like.
Right.
Right. It looked like a huge center for creating that substance. But this feels like they got nothing, though. That's just empty words that these are going to fizzle out.
Well, that's interesting you say that, because so first of all, Janine, try to bring up your microphone. People are saying that you're a little bit low compared to mine.
How's that?
Yeah, that's better. And make sure your speaker volume maybe is a little bit lower so you don't get an echo. Trixie is saying, yeah, elongated skull friends. JC, you always make me chuckle. There's a reason I say that. I'll get back to that one in a second there, Trixie. But also why you say they might not be able to pull that off in Kazakhstan is because Moscow is now sending troops there. You and I decoded the reasons of this in the episode here, Janine Investigates, and China is also prepared to back them. So not sure what little old Canada will do in all of this. We'll get to the United States here. They have their own problems dealing with the Geneva Convention, perhaps as soon as tomorrow morning. So we'll get to that a little bit later on in the show here. So that's fascinating, folks. If you want to go check that out, Janine Investigates Kazakhstan. This is the latest. It's available now on pay-per-view, and it was available last night for the Insider Access Pass members. Okay, so cautiously optimistic, but there's some weird stuff going on. Janine also with the idea of today, tomorrow being the implementation or the reactivation or the full activation, I'm going to choose my words here, of those towers that we see and that we've been talking about for the last number of years. So are we watching here some type of strategic retreat by some of these bad guys in order to be able to mount an offensive, perhaps through these towers? And if so, if that's their plan, is that going to succeed?
Okay, so that was the plan. They worked on that for a really long time. They'd worked on that for a really long time. This is in the past though. And this is in the now. So the past is some independent people or people that want to be sovereign beings. We'll say it like that because she's really independent and sovereign, let's just say. Okay, they got wind of it and put the no on it kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So they shut it down. So it was the plan. So the plan was to activate those towers and bad things were going to happen. We don't know if the bad things were happening to people that have been cured. That's one theory. Or was it going to zombify people? Was it going to, we don't know what it was going to do, but it wasn't going to be good. That part's for sure what you said is true. But the good guys stepped in the background. And I was getting that they did that quite a while ago. I remember a year and a half or 2 years ago, I was looking at those towers and I thought that they'd been handled.
Okay, very good. Now let's go back to Canada here. Again, you and I have been following this trucker strike, the heroes here who are fighting against this now apparently defunct narrative. We just didn't get the memo here in Canada. And I find it surprising. Again, looking at the mainstream news, this is National News Watch here in Canada. It's kind of like an aggregator of our main newspapers here in Canada, and they focus mostly on politics, geopolitics. So if you guys are interested in watching and paying attention here, you can do so here at nationalnewswatch.com. But what's interesting there, and let's play up this clip of who Prime Minister Mr. T here in Canada pledges allegiance to when he takes his oath of office. And my question is going to be, well, if that is indeed the case, he hasn't yet gotten the memo from the Privy Council. So let's just play what Mr. T has to say here when he took office.
I, Justin P.J. Trudeau, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of Canada, her heirs and successors. So help me God. I, Justin P.J. Trudeau, do solemnly and sincerely swear that I shall be a true and faithful servant to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II as a member of Her Majesty's Privy Council for Canada. I will, in all things to be treated, debated, and resolved in Privy Council, faithfully, honestly, and truly declare my mind and my opinion. I shall keep secret all matters committed and revealed to me in this capacity, or that shall be secretly treated of in council. Generally, in all things, I shall do as a faithful and true servant ought to do for Her Majesty, so help me God.
Okay.
Wow.
So
that's
pretty clear.
That leaves it like he could just do anything if the lizard told him to. That's
Absolutely. That's the
just
point.
scary.
That's the point. So again, when people think we have a democracy here, well, no, you don't. No. He's not taking his orders from the people who elected him and from the members of parliament in each of the electoral districts or riding associations. He's actually taking his orders from the Privy Council, which is flowing back the orders from the Queen. That's very clear. I mean, that's just AP News. You saw it. Okay, so if you guys are aware of that, this is how things actually work here. Now, what's interesting there is the fact that he's talking about the Queen herself. Now, does that translate to the crown? Why am I asking this question, Janine? Because perhaps Mr. T here is finding a loophole in the sense that the Queen is no longer there and he's not taking any of the orders coming from the crown. Now, Boris Johnson today took the orders from whoever is running the crown. We can get into that maybe in a further show. But what can you glean from that and share with the audience here? Again, choosing our words carefully.
So should we ask it like, is what Boris Johnson did going to trickle down to Canada anytime soon? Should we ask it like that, or how do you want to approach it?
I want to start. We'll eventually get to that question. I want to start right now. Is the delay here in Canada an attempt to go through a loophole of not being a faithful servant to the Queen because the Queen is no longer there in his view? Is that the approach he's taking right now, or is there something else that is delaying his capitulation? I want to start there.
Okay, I think he's taking orders from somebody, but it's neither of those, because here's the background where he's getting his orders, and I think the real guy is rounded up, and so now we got the whole thing switches because these are the guys giving him his orders. So he's really taking his orders from the wise ones that counsel, I think, the alliance.
Okay. Wow.
Okay, so he's hanging on to the narrative till the bitter end because they got a different plan that's going to step everything up or just change everything. So we've got this chariot. Chariot could even be warriors coming in. I mean, we could have martial law or something. Any minute here is what I.
Okay, so
something's going on different, and that it'll take. So he's going to go down looking like the big jackass he is. So
we're going to get to the Geneva Convention article here in a second. So let's translate that last segment here into that question that you first asked. Now, when is he going to capitulate here to ostensibly what are the new marching orders around the planet? We're seeing different jurisdictions around the world now fall in the last 24 hours, and we can only presume that this is going to accelerate very, very rapidly in the next couple of hours, days, and weeks. So when is Mr. T here going to capitulate? Let's get some idea from the cards.
Oh, yeah, so soon. I'm going to say, like we got to be careful with how many days or whatever, because people get too attached to it, but they're looking at it daily, momently here. This is just a work I don't know why they're playing it like this, but this is a play. This is a play to have him look bad. He has nothing to do with this. The deep state, they're no longer in charge here in Canada, even though it really looks like it. They're not. So they're doing this for some other reason.
Let's go back to Ukraine for just a sec. So there were potentially ties there in that neck of the woods with the capital in Kazakhstan. But is it also a weird kind of strategic flipping of the tables to flip the narrative? They know they're about to fall here on one particular front, and they're trying to create a 24-hour news cycle here, maybe in Ukraine. Is that also just the typical bait and switch type of political rhetoric to change the channel, so to speak? Is that also in the cards for the Ukraine narrative that they seem to be hell-bent right now on building?
Oh, yeah. That's to buy them a little time for their next moves. So that's a yes. And whatever their next move is, they just want to buy time. That's just ploy to buy time. There's no behind it. I mean,
well, Cliff in his video, it's a gas woo from yesterday. I think you retweeted that, or it might have been the one after that also. He was saying how these elites right now are just doing exactly that, buying time. They know they've lost. They're buying the extra hour, the extra day, the extra week of life perhaps here. But these are the days we're living in now. And I want to caution the audience. This is very good news. Yes. And Janine and I have been talking about this for a long time, and we're seeing now finally reprieve for the persecuted, and we'll just say it that way. But it's still a very critical time. There's a lot of things happening in the background, and this is often where things get off the rails also. And again, when you speak about cornered animals, they do really crazy fucking shit. So keep your wits about you. Don't win any stupid prizes. Like Cliff High says, still be prepared. There's a lot of things going on. Just on the radio station here in Ottawa today, on mainstream news, they had these experts on talking about the severity of the food crisis, the fact that your habits are going to change, that you won't be able to shop at one store anymore. You might have to do 5 stores in order to get the brands and the products that you used to get last month. So they're already cueing us to know there's a big problem here happening. And I think the strike thing with the vaccine is just a cover for really what's going on, which is the broken supply chain management that you and I have been trying to warn people about and to get ready for. So that's an interesting twist also. I want to bring the kids into this. And this is really, again, on National News Watch today, going back to this article where 25% of Canadians, apparently a poll suggests, agree that the unwilling should be jailed. Now, Monsieur Maxime Bernier tweeted something also on his Twitter today. This was on a Quebec TV. This is in French, but they're asking children what we should do to the unwilling. And the children here are the ones saying that they should be jailed. Absolute horseshit propaganda. I can't believe they put kids up to doing this. Like, that's just absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So first of all, is there any chance left here in Canada, as we're seeing this narrative crumble, that they would in fact even try to follow through on jailing some of the unwilling? Let's ask the card there. And then we're going to talk about the taxation also from Monsieur Legault in Quebec.
Jailing the unwilling. Okay, so I've got 2 10s, which is no.
Big ending.
Whatever that narrative is, what they were using it for a while, ended. 10s are endings, and we're past that. This is in the past. We're past that. Something happened. We're past it. We're at least 3 weeks past that having to happen. So that might have been something, just a further wake-up call, because remember, I'm coming from the idea, because what I've been getting consistently in the cards is we got shadow governments governing. So that narrative's passed. They could have used it. They were playing with it in case they needed it. I don't think it's going to happen. I've never got it would happen, and I don't see. In fact, with 2 10s, that's a no. Aces are yes, 10s are no's. 10 says something ended.
Okay, very good. And I want to follow on that one also, because it irks me to know when you get kids involved to play types of war games, and the psychological damage they're doing to these kids here, who presumably are not actors, but they've been coerced and coaxed into saying these things here. What's going to happen to the people behind these cameras and the producers of this type of propaganda? What can the cards tell us there? And just to be clear, I'm not advocating for any violence whatsoever. Rule of law and justice is good enough for me. Just to be clear, Jenny and I have never, ever espoused any vigilantism or violence. That is not the case.
I got a feeling they were put up to it by good guys trying to shock again. I got a feeling that's so they're play acting. I'm not buying it that those guys are real. So even though it's a little disappointing, because I really like whoever produced something like that for real, but I got a feeling they're in on the movie.
Okay. And we've seen a lot of that this year, the shocking stuff in terms of the strategic positioning there. Okay. Now let's get into Washington, D.C. You and I spoke about last Monday that they were erecting these new structures, walls. There was something else, but I can't talk about it on the live show here tonight. We've also been reporting that mainstream media in the States had been reporting on military movements within the continental U.S. They were talking about National Guards and reserves being activated, deployed, et cetera, et cetera. This was all over the place. It wasn't just in one state. It was all over the place. So they clearly were preparing for something. Now, you'll recall that on Monday, I posted something on my Twitter, so too did Cliff High, and within minutes, it had disappeared. And Clifford and I were like, what the F just happened? And this was an article from a newspaper in Europe, I'll just say that had leaked documents of what was about to happen on the 19th or the 20th, I forget the date, with respect to the ending of this whole charade. Now, today, another newspaper in the same neck of the woods put out this notice. This is not translated here, and for a reason, guys, I'm just avoiding some of the algos here on the show. But this is a mainstream newspaper since 1898. Okay, so this is mainstream. This is not like a tabloid or anything like that. And what they're suggesting here, and they're referring to, are the Geneva Convention codes as it pertains to occupied territories and the delays and the prescriptions of times in order to basically adhere by these conventions. Now, if you read through the documents, the suggestion is that Washington, I won't even say that right now, just okay, that there's a certain area in the States that has been occupied since January of last year, and that prescription of time of 1 year is coming up to issuance tomorrow morning at 11:54 or on or about. And that would enable more moves to be taken from that point forward. So, Janine, first of all, what are your thoughts here? Choose your words carefully on what perhaps that is also suggesting here for North America tomorrow.
Wow. Well, things like that have been in those drops for a long time. And there's all kinds of references to sort of end time. And, the charade ends. I mean, it's fascinating. Do you want to have a look at what the cards want to say about that?
Yes. So basically, let's start with the obvious. Is tomorrow a critical date in terms of the Geneva Convention, in that it would initiate legally further steps from the military? That's my question for tomorrow.
Yes, and the world. So the world is, so something comes to a conclusion. That's for sure. And that's a yes to your question. And so we've got this 5 of Wands. I feel like there's still some push, and like it's not so clear exactly what happens after that. What you said is true.
Okay.
And but it doesn't mean it's total go time with that.
Right.
Right. Because
the thing is that legally they could go. This is what the Geneva codes are talking about. Now, whether or not it is go tomorrow, that we're not sure. Okay.
So this feels like there's inner fighting around when to go then.
For sure.
So that's like everybody's all temporary setbacks, that kind of thing. Now we've got the Justice card and the Sun. Justice it just gives us way more clout to actually achieve justice in this whole situation we've been in. Because these two cards together are brilliant. Justice will be served to the people. And that is one of the ways it's going to do it. You better believe it. Look at those cards.
Right.
Brilliant.
Okay. Thank you so much, Judy Gomez. Greatest show on earth is happening. Thank you. Yes. I assume you mean the whole planet, but yes, we'll take it. We'll take the compliment for this show here too. We're doing our best. I thank you so much. I appreciate that. But Janine, also, what's interesting in this same article, they're talking about certain generals and chiefs of staff being put into a COVID quarantine. And what is suggested here is that it is in fact code word for them being at the spa right now. So big change over happening there. So we'll get to follow that story here in the next couple of hours and days. But what's interesting in this article also, they talked about how on the 12th of January, let me bring this up here, media packets were sent to all the mainstream media explaining the severity, the gravity of the ongoing world operation, I'll call it that, and that they needed to reverse course and tell the truth, and they had up until the 19th to do so, okay? After which there would be some serious consequences, and we'll get into, again, some of the legality of the Geneva Convention and what the military can do after that. But what was interesting there, in the last week, you and I reported that some other countries around the world, mainstream media outlets, apologized for their coverage of the world operation narrative without questioning it. So they were basically just regurgitating what they were told, and they never did actual reporting on the thing. So they apologized for not doing their job. So some of them clearly appear to have gotten the memo since January 12. So let's see if our favorite news station, hold on, I'm going to try not to have a gag reflex and puke here. Let's see if they're reporting actual real news here. Oh, wait, no, they're talking about suppressing Trump. They're talking about, no, I don't see anything about the world situation ending here on CNN. Maybe it's in the world news. Let's go click on the world news. Okay, is there anything about mandates ending anywhere? No, don't see anything about that. Oh, wait, there's United Kingdom. Okay, clearly it must be here, Janine. This is CNN reporting on the United Kingdom. What do they have there? What is this pork pie plot? And what does it mean for Boris Johnson? Nope, there's nothing ending here. So clearly these guys haven't got the fucking memo. Sorry for my French. So it was funny because yesterday my analytics showed that we had 5 million views on BeyondMystic. These guys don't even get 1 million views in a month, just to tell you who's listening to who. That's just absolutely crazy. So my second question then, tomorrow, we've been looking at this for a long time about the famous EBS, Emergency Broadcast System. Last year, there were a couple of tests, and there were notifications sent out to our mainstream media that, in fact, in some circumstances, which perhaps the one we are in now, the military could, in fact, take over, and this is why the FAA has these specific regulations for them. Now, none of them adhered to any of those warnings in the last year. Is it possible now that they will be yanked very shortly here in preference to maybe an emergency broadcast system that has to do with, again, the Geneva Convention here and what's happening with the occupied territory, quote unquote?
So the mainstream gets yanked?
Yeah. And then replaced maybe by this EBS here temporarily to actually share the truth. Because that was originally what was the warning in the January 12th packets that were sent to them.
That's definitely something they're thinking about and looking at. They still look like they have concerns about that still. There's concerns about that. And we've got this too. So they're staying safe, and they might give them, so after that date and time comes and goes tomorrow, they might give them X amount of maybe hours or days to get on board. That could be up to 2 days. Maybe even 2 weeks. I doubt if they give them that long, but I feel like they're still, for some reason, being really cautious. And then this is the secretive card in the middle. So that's the secret plan on the back channel. So that's all ready to go. But if they can possibly do without the EBS, they're going to. Isn't that
okay?
If they can get those guys on board saying the truth, they'll use them. That's the last resort. So yeah, they're waiting and watching. They've given an ultimatum time frame to those mainstreams.
And we'll see basically who in those associations decide to finally abandon ship on this craziness and speak the truth. So they're hoping that at least some people will appear on the mic before they have to pull a DBS.
It'll be interesting.
Fuck yeah. Wow. Okay. There's a crazy... I don't want to say it's crazy yet, but let me bring this up. There's a couple of things happening now. Wait, before I bring that up, let me give the audience some context. A couple of years ago, Cliff High was seeing in his data that there would be a time where silver would have dollar a day moves, And people would say, what the hell? $1 a day move. And then $5 a day moves. And then suddenly $20 a day moves. Okay. And there was a bunch of temporal markers surrounding that particular data set. Now, if you listen to my last interview with Cliff High, Big Swear, and Jason Nib4, I think it was called The Temporal Markers. It's still on YouTube. He explained that most, if not all, of the temporal markers in that data set have now manifested, except for those ones about silver with $1 a day move, $5 a day moves, and then $20 a day moves. Now, in the last 2 days, we've seen close enough to call it here, maybe $1 a day move today and $1 a day move yesterday to the upwards, with nothing bringing it down. Whereas typically we see the heavy hand on the scale of the manipulators, which you have been reporting for quite some time now, were on their last capability of doing so. And so there's a couple of analysts now reporting, and especially this one here, if you guys can go check that out, he's asking, could we actually see silver reach its real price in inflated fiat? Are we now beginning that curve of $1 a day move that was long predicted? Let's see what the cards have to say.
So that card would be the manipulator. That card would be the 7 of Wands hanging in there. So that's what there's barely hanging in there still. And next thing they do. So this is like the past is, it's been largely manipulated. Present, they're fighting to hold on to the manipulation.
Tooth and nail, yeah.
Yeah. Near future is they walk away. They finally give it up. I'm going to say yes. It's literally falsified. The price is already way higher. Like, and we get that. Like every time the cards always say no, it's worth a lot of money.
We got the fact in our last Beyond Crypto Woo, and folks, we are going to record the next one here this weekend, Jenny and I, or perhaps actually this Friday. But in the one from December, we got that the events that would bring the $600 silver had already occurred in December. We just weren't told yet of that price. So wow, that's fascinating. Okay, let me bring up, I just need to hear, people are going to ask again, silver specials here for the Beyond Mystic audience. These are the kilo Valcambi bars. These are the 1 kilo bars at $275 over spot. You can find those at beyondmystic.net/silver. Again, these are the discounts afforded to the Beyond Mystic audience. And if you guys are Canadian, at the top of the page here, you can click on that link for our Canadian affiliate program with MF Bullion Canada, and that will bring you to this website here, where the PAMP Swiss bars are also on sale now for you guys at $5.29 Canadian over spot. These are the 10-ounce bars, absolutely amazing bars here. I think they're the only 10-ounce silver bars in the world that actually have also an individualized serial number and certificate of authenticity. Absolutely a beautiful product. That's mfbullion.ca. Janine, for those people here, if we're that close to these manipulations ending right now, and we could be, as they're holding on to dear life here with these $1 a day moves, strategically holding on, how much more time do people who have been procrastinating that we've been following here for the last number of months, do they have until we get to the unobtainium part of that particular forecast, where you can't even buy it if you want to buy it? How far are we from that, from them letting go here?
So this is where we are right now. So there's a 2 to that. And I usually go, if it's timing, with 2 weeks. So I'm thinking you got about 2 weeks. And then it all goes right off the scales to the good for us. So it shockingly, this is the victory card, shocking victory around silver price, and it happens really fast within 2 weeks. So you got about 2, like on the outside, 2 weeks, but you want to make sure it's available, right? Because at some point, apparently they'll start locking down and you're not going to be able to buy it.
Well, I spoke to Andy yesterday, and I asked him, because I've been getting reports that I can't repeat right now, about tightness in the market, and Andy told me, yeah, it's very tight. So there is something happening behind the scene right now. Now, of course, this has happened before, where the market was really tight and the manipulators got away from it and got underneath and manipulated their way out of the situation. I don't think this is it. And from what Janine is saying, they're out of rope here, or they're out of road here to do that. So again, guys, beyondmystic.net/silver. Andy and his brokers are hard at work now. I know I'm seeing all of these bookings go by, and they're absolutely through the roof busy here, filling demand for you guys. So please check it out. And for the Canadian site also, it's mfbullion.ca. Give it a try. Who knows? We might be at that particular time now. Okay, somebody was asking me in the chat, JC, can we ask, I think it's Siobhan, this chat is moving really fast. There's 9,000 people in here right now, but I think it was Siobhan. She was asking, can you ask Janine if the bad guys are going to try to pull something on the grid tomorrow or soon, let's just say soon here, in order to prevent some of this news coming out, perhaps with the Geneva Code conventions here tomorrow, or anything else having to do with this narrative breakdown? Are they going to try here to maybe black out comms, so to speak?
Yeah, they will. They will, and that's always their MO, right? So we've got the King of Pentacles. So around the financial systems where they look like they're going to focus their efforts, and they're going to use what looks like maybe fear, because this card ramps up fear and or misinformation. So they're going to spread misinformation, and it seems to be around physical. So you could think about physical health. So we could have a last push in some places, like we're seeing in Canada, for instance, where they didn't get memo to shut that down, that ridiculous narrative down. They didn't get it. So that could be physical, like physical health, but it could also be physical money, but it could also be physical goods. So the physical goods shortage, I think, was created a long time ago with a whole series of events, and now upon us. Okay. And I don't think if the good guys were in charge way back then when it was created, we would be seeing it. And I think all the work they've done in the background, the alliance, they've really softened it to some degree, but we're still going to see, like, we had to shut down Sending Raven's website because Sandy didn't get another big shipment. She can't do the stuff. She can't make the product. She's missing all these things. And we're going to see this in all stores, all little places that are producing things. They're going to have to work around things. We're going to have to start shopping where we bring our own containers to put things in. She's having trouble getting containers. Think about it. Most of them come from China, probably. This is just the tip of the iceberg with stuff. Okay. So we're going to have to rethink the way we do stuff. So it looks like that's where they're going to focus. That's all they got. They got that kind of pumping up fear and ramping up fear. But if we just face it and go, okay, well, we'll just do things differently. Okay, whatever. I lived for years in the Haida Gwaii where we didn't have any kind of store to buy any kind of clothes. And this was in the 90s. We didn't have the internet where we're, getting things shipped to us. So we didn't do it that way. And we didn't have the money for that anyway. We literally just went to the thrift store, the local thrift store, and traded. So we had big trade parties. I'd bring all my stuff. Everybody bring their clothes that were all clean and everything. And then we do some swaps. Like, we might have to see some real creative ways of hippie dipping our way through this. And like us people are the age group that I am, we know how to do that. Been there.
And I think that's a great point here too, to this question on the screen. Karen is saying, hey, JC, we're not necessarily procrastinating. Some of us, it did occur to me, by the way, but she says some of us cannot afford to buy silver. All our money goes to rent and food. And I do understand that. But I've been teaching this for a number of years, and there's always ways to prioritize, and there's always ways to find opportunities to get real hard money in your possession. And what I used to teach people who said they didn't have money, and 9 times out of 10, even more, they would come back and say, oh my God, JC, what you just said worked. And what I would do is go around the house with a pen and paper and take a list of everything in your house that you haven't used for a year whether it's in the garage, the pressure washer, the this, the that, the clothes you never wear, the shoes, and then put them on Kijiji, put them on Craigslist, and suddenly you have $200 or $100 or $300, and then you're like, okay, I didn't need that. I haven't used it for a year. I can go without that one, and then you can find ways. So there's always ways. I understand some people are harder pressed than others, but there's always ways when you think about it, and when you prioritize, especially now at this late stage of the game, when you realize that this Ponzi scheme is at its end. There's little ways to maybe get around that and to empower yourself. Somebody was saying that they had issues with Saskatchewan. I forgot who it was, with the coupon code or Yukon for mfbullion.ca. Send me an email directly on my website. We'll fix that. It could be a browser issue. I get that on our pay-per-views sometimes. People say they can't fill in their address correctly when buying our pay-per-views, and then they change browsers, and suddenly they have the option to do the right address input for some reason. If that doesn't work for you, send me an email and I'll get you in contact with the guys here so that they can help you out. Okay. Janine, holy shit, we're already 45 minutes in. There's a lot more on my slide deck. I'm like, okay. Was there anything today? I know you did an interview with Catherine Edwards today. There's a cool, in her description, there was a cool couple of items there of hush-hush items. What can you share with the audience here who might be interested in seeing that interview from earlier today?
Well, we obviously looked at what was going on in the UK, and we'd honestly, like, I'm drawing a blank.
That's okay. I was just trying to buy time so I can find some questions from the audience here. Okay, hold on.
I was trying to fake it till I made it, but I was like, oh, I can't remember.
God damn it, JC, you got me.
I'm super funny because, you know, somebody could come in for a reading and I would see them the very next week if they were in a big issue and they kind of used me as a life coach, you know what I mean? So they might be in the very next week and I'd be like, okay, what are we talking about today? And they'd be so surprised. They thought I knew everything. I didn't retain any of it. Psychics are just like that. If we held all that 35 years of people's personal information daily, come on. You can't hold on to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Janine and I are such good people. Okay. Just so you know, Janine and I decided last week or the week before to not address this particular topic. So don't ask any questions. There's a reason for that. Both Janine and I are guided to not answer questions about this individual that's on the screen now. So please respect that. We feel it's important to act in such a way, and you need to trust us that we're trying to do this for the highest good of everyone. So we can leave it at that. Janine, somebody's asking you in the Insider Access Pass. Thank you so much, guys. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit late getting to the chat tonight. There's a lot of news items. Susan, 1111 question. Is Mr. Fauci the first arrest?
No. That's on hold. And so that's, he's probably already arrested. So that's interesting. But you're talking about the first public one. So they got somebody else in mind. They did think about it at some point. He was up for grabs as being the first one, but they're going to wait on him. That's the outcome. They're going to wait on it. So great idea, but I don't think so. I think they got somebody else up their sleeve. Okay,
very good. Smiling Eyes in the live chat is asking, hey, Janine, let's talk about these food shortages. She's probably also heard, she's from this neck of the woods, on CFRA today, the experts saying, yeah, you might have to go to 2, 3, 4 stores now to find your products. We might actually here in Ontario have store closures, food store closures, because of staff shortages, and also because of the disruption in the supply chain and food supplies. So what's the time frame here? Ken Schwartz from C60 Purple Power yesterday in my show, in my live chat, he says, JC, for you guys, it starts tomorrow. And of course, we heard it in the news today, so that was very interesting. But how close are we to this, maybe for the rest of Canada and North America here, if not already here?
That's in the past. So we are abundant. And we've been abundant. Think about it. For the most part, you can go to one place and get almost, you know, a lot of what you need. Not everywhere in the world's like that, obviously, and there's definitely, but for the most part, everybody watching, we've been abundant. Yep. So that's the past, but this is the present. This is a whole bunch of worrying. So when I get this card, and it's not based in truth, so when I get this card, I want to say a lot of the things out there reports are, it's not going to be as bad as you think. Now, I got to be honest, I've been getting that all along in this movie. I've been getting that the fear factor being pumped out there from both sides is equal. We're getting the equal amount to try to wake up the masses. And this is part of the wake up. And I'm not saying you're not going to, there's definitely shortages. And Sandy, who makes the Sending Ravens, can tell you that. And lots of little mom and pop shops waiting for, you know, cup containers to put to go coffees. I've heard all kinds of things. So there's absolutely going to be shortages. Yeah, we'll have to step away. So I'd even say in the next 8 days, even, you're going to start seeing it in a very specific sense. But this card says it'll be unique to certain items. Certain places will be worse off than others, but it'll be about 70% sort of things will be available if you do the looking around for them. So that card says you'll just have to get really creative with it. But it's not going to be nearly so. When you read some of these articles, you think we're all going to starve to death. And no, it's coming really soon. You're going to start seeing it. I mean, the truckers in Canada and some of the US truckers are supposedly doing a big stop wherever they are at noon on the 23rd. They're already doing it at the borders until Mr. T gets on board with what everybody else is doing in the world. It's like, hello. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to see it, but it's not going to be nearly as bad. So if everybody just kind of takes a deep breath and start looking at it like this is going to be fun and creative. Try to listen to your intuition about what in particular to stock up on in the next week or two. Right? I try to be intuitive every day. I'm like, okay, I'll run out and get this. And I'll run out and get that. And I made sure I had lots of coffee. And
so now you have some bartering tools too. You can give some of your coffee for something else you forgot to buy.
Yeah, I got all kinds of meat in the freezer from my my farmer friend.
Yep, very good.
Needing some, if they're eating meat and they need some. Yeah, so yeah, we can barter. Yeah, so I don't think it'll be nearly as bad. And that's because I think, again, the alliance helped soften it. I'm just saying. We're going to owe them a big thank you. And I can't wait to personally meet some of them if they ever step out of the shadows for us to meet.
Yep, I had a dream about that, but we'll talk about that in another show. There's so much there. Okay, I completely forgot at the beginning of the show. Of course, this is Wednesday night, and we have a pyramid giveaway from the amazing Carla. So let me see if I can bring that on the screen for you guys. This one is called Teresa, and let's see what Carla has to say. And this, of course, is going to one of you lucky PayPal tip jar donators. A big thank you to all of you for that support.
Hi everyone, this is Carla from Ascension Organites, and today I have the beautiful Teresa. So I had originally designed Teresa for a friend of mine that has her own business. Teresa is a protection piece. She actually, the original Teresa lives in my friend's business in her front door. That's why I used Tiger's Eye crystal on it to give it that property. But I was thinking also about what it means to me, and Teresa for me, is the divine feminine energy. There's something about the colors and the energy that she gives off. It's like that motherly protection and that fierceness that all divine feminine have. And that's what Teresa means to me. She has the flower of life in gold. I'll give her a quick turn around so you can see her. Her colors are also inspired by where I live, which is Miami, Florida. When you think of Miami, you think of like the sunset and the beaches and all of that. So I made Teresa with that also in mind. So yeah, I hope you like her and see you soon. Bye.
All right. Thank you so much, Carla, for that one. And of course, if you guys are looking for the real pyramids here from Ascension Organites, please look for Ascension Organites on Etsy. We had somebody last week saying, hey, I ordered from Carla and I received a pyramid from China. And I'm like, no, you didn't. I said, send me that bill of yours. And so the person had typed in Ascension Organites in Etsy, but found another website, which of course was not handmade. And they were duped there. So they apologize for that mistake. Oh, Janine, you have a card on that pyramid?
Yeah, that pyramid reminded me of the strength card.
Oh,
she is really, strength is like divine feminine. She's been through so much, the strength card. She's a number 8, been through so much, but comes out gracious instead of a victim. So she could feel like a victim with all she's been through, but she looks at it as experience, and she becomes compassionate, loving towards others that are going through things because she's been through it all. So she can now help others and give them a leg up and a help, and because of her own experience, instead of turning around and being cruel to others because she was done cruelly or feeling victimized or like a victim.
Wow.
Yes,
That's
strength card is truly the divine feminine. And somehow that reminded me of the strength card.
It's almost the same colors from your card to the pyramid too.
Yeah.
Look that card again. You got the yellow, the oranges. Yeah, it looks very similar.
And the green. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Fascinating. Okay, guys, that's Ascension Organite. The link is in the live chat now. Please do go and support our friend Carla there for her amazing work. And she's almost up to date on all of the orders. Speaking of not being up to date on all of the orders, both Sophie and Julie are completely swamped with orders. So the queue is being filled up very quickly here for Sophie for the tarot readings. The coupon code BeyondMystic is still valid for that. But the birth charts are a little bit delayed here. Julie did put a week to 2 weeks of production, but she had no idea how much demand would come through. And so she's doing 20 or 30 a day here. And it takes a lot of time. She does all of these by hand. She's a graphic designer. She puts a lot of love and care into that. So if you haven't received yours yet, don't panic. She's working on them, and she'll get through all of your orders here in very short order as best that she can. So a big thank you to all of you also there for supporting our friends. And if you're looking for those consultations, just click on that consultation link. I believe that 30 minutes are still sold out, but she still has some 1 hour readings, Sophie. And I have quite a few of you in the chat already who have had readings from her, and the testimonials are through the roof. So if you're here now and you want to comment on Sophie's amazing talent, please do so for everyone else to see here. And we're getting them back on the show, I believe, next week for another episode of the Divine Feminine Oracles, which will be absolutely amazing. Okay, PayPal tip jar. I didn't forget you guys. Hold on. Okay, and then Nadia. Okay, let me see if I can bring this up on the screen for you guys here. Nadia is asking, and this is a great question: will silver be taxed? If we're going to see these crazy, huge amounts here, some people have suggested that perhaps the governments, or what's left of them, might want to impose like a windfall tax of 95% on those gains to basically crush the little minions and the little slaves here. Will they be able to tax silver here and the crazy gains that are forecasted? Janine.
Okay, this is interesting. I think there'll be a whole new, like this is stepping through a whole nother, you go through a gateway with that card, and we've got this ace. So the financial system's gone through a gateway, and something's come to an end. So the old system ends. So there's going to be a new way of doing things, and it's not going to be the old way. So not in the way that taxes have been done, okay? And they might try, okay? But this card says it'll be really tricky because the old way is a corporation, and it's literally bankrupt, and their systems already outed as corrupt. The banking system's corrupt, the Fed's corrupt. It's all been outed. So this card,
you know, the second part of her question there, or will taxes be gone in the U.S.?
Yeah,
that could be your yes card. Yeah.
I'm getting, there might be a little crossover for the next year and a half where they're trying to do some version of it, but they have to redo the whole system. So the whole thing will be redone, and it's not going to be connected to the Fed because the Fed's going down, you guys.
And when I had John, oh shoot, from shadowstats.com. I forget his second name now. He's an economist. He was saying they're going to come up with all of these scams to get the silver from you. And he said, don't let it go for dear life, because the prices we're about to see are nothing compared to where it's ultimately going. John Williams from shadowstats.com. Hopefully I can get him back on the show to do another inflation report, because things are absolutely ramping up on that. Can the cards tell me, and this is from Anna, where do I go in my dreams? Love you both. Anna wants to know where she goes in her dreams.
She's some kind of a teacher, and she's got some kind of a mission somewhere else. So she actually teaches somewhere. She goes to a place where she's thought of as a very wise teacher. And I feel like it's past life related. So she's been that, maybe even from that place. She's very well liked.
Mm-hmm.
She's very well liked. It's not really telling me exactly where. It's her karmic work. So it's like her sleep time. She's also busy working, which always made sense to me. Like, I doubt if sleeping is just, I think our consciousness goes somewhere and our body rests.
Mm-hmm.
I think our body rests and our consciousness goes somewhere. So she's been going somewhere, and it's where she's originally from. And she's considered a wise old soul. And maybe she's even on, I'm getting the feeling of she's on some councils there. So she's pretty cool and very old soul.
Wow. Fascinating. Yeah. Rod is asking, JC, what's going to be more valuable, silver or XRP? Well, on that note, you guys have to listen to today's special update from Jim Willie. I just recorded our last pay-per-view. It's up now for the Insider Access Pass members, and the pay-per-view will go out tomorrow. But he also talked about one specific coin that is sitting under $10 right now that is going to hit 1,000 locked in very soon. So if you guys want to know what that one is, go check out the last Jim Willie episode. Okay, so Anna, with the dreams and the teachings, perhaps you and I will cross paths, because I do a lot of that in my dreams also, the teaching part. Okay, Michael Shirley. Hi, JC Janines. I saw a video of flashes of lights in the White House. You talked about this on Monday, Janine. Are they doing controlled demos there? Or is it something else, like the OK Corral, maybe? Some type of fighting going on. I guess that's the best I can say for the show. Michael Shirley, thank you for that. I appreciate that.
This kind of feels like, so we've got these kind of cards. So we could be military. We could be off-worlder even. So we could have like, so we could have some alliance type activity going on in the White House, like members of the alliance, and it has something to do with truth and integrity. So that's all. And then this card came as a past card. So this could be people put under duress. I wonder if it has something to do with the tribunals.
Well, let's ask. Is it the anyways, guys, this is the last pay-per-view with Jim Willie. That's what you're looking for. It's on the Insider Access Pass members now. But let's ask the question. Is it related to the tribunals, or perhaps what's coming up here with the Geneva Convention?
Well, we've got the Six of Swords, so it's saying we're soon going to find out.
Okay.
Like, that's going to be outed real soon. Yeah, that's funny. Okay, and we've got the Seven of Swords here, so strategy. So I think you seeing those were a strategic move on the White Hats. They wanted somebody to film that. I don't think it was literal to what was going on there, but it's referencing something. That's the feeling I'm getting. It's referencing what's going on there to do with truth and justice, and it's given us a heads up about stuff is going on, and it's not what you think. That's for sure. And I think they give us lots of nods towards that we're on the right track and that we're getting this stuff. And it, like, I think they give the truthers and the truther communities nods. And I think that's what they're doing there.
Yeah.
They're giving us a heads up. Stuff's going on. Don't worry about it. We got this. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
It is the fog of war, but man, we're starting to see, and the fog is dissipating, and there's a lot of stuff happening. And that was based on my interview with Jim today. He says, yeah, if you don't see that things are happening and moving in our direction, perhaps you're not the brightest bulb in the bunch, because there's a lot happening, especially today when you look at all of this. Last one here, Lucy Fowler. Wait, see if I can bring that in. Thank you, Jean-Claude. Thank you, JC and Janine. I appreciate you both so much. Blessings and joy. Hey, no question. Okay, let's pull. But thank you for that donation, Lucy. Let's pull generic cards on Lucy. What does universe need her to know? Lucy Fowler.
Interesting. She's going to come into sudden wealth. These are really well aspected. So she's been wishing for something. So it may not be literal wealth, but it's something she's been wishing for. So she's been wishing for something that would make her really happy. That's a well aspected 3 of Cups, not the badly aspected where it could be party substance or whatever. We're not asking questions like that. It's well aspected. So it means joyful, like she has a vision of something and she's patiently been waiting. And this is a manifester. So somebody who visualizes, see how she's focused on her pentacle. She knows she's worthy. She's been working on herself. She knows how to manifest what she needs and it'll come. She quietly manifests it and then suddenly it'll come. So her desire that she's been visualizing and focused on will suddenly be there for her.
I wonder if Lucy Fowler is a non-procrastinator and a holder of physical silver and gold and crypto. Well, I hope for her. Performance here is asking Wayne Wright, RBC, Royal Bank of Canada, ran out of money today. I've been getting emails in the last couple of days of weird outages of banks here in Ontario as well. I think one was CIBC this weekend and there was another one. Clearly, there's pressure happening there. And again, guys, if you want to know why that's important right now, go check out this last episode that Janine and I just put out, the Kazakhstan investigation. It ties into the central warfare banking model of the Khazars and the Red Shields and all of that in that neck of the woods. And so if indeed that capital has fallen, it has huge ramifications. And as Cliff was saying in his video the other day, some of these banks here in these headquarters have now been occupied by the population. They've been looted and they're being sifted through for data as well. So they're hunting down something there and they're taking people, as much as I can say here, and putting them in group centers. So there's a lot happening there that is not yet in the news. Janine.
So I pulled some cards on the bank and it will be righted, but they were a little slow. And this guy's a bit of a procrastinator and they were having trouble internally agreeing to, I think, getting on board with the new system maybe. Because this is in the past. So they were given a bunch of information about things are changing. Here's what we got to do, blah, blah, blah. And they procrastinated. And now they've surrendered to, they got to get on board really fast. So they're trying to write it really fast.
Okay.
Yeah. I think a lot of players, they just don't get, this is real. It's been threatened for a really long time that old fiat system was going down and that the Fed was going down and it was all illegal anyway, blah, blah, blah. People have been talking about that for years and they never thought it would actually get taken down. And now it is. That's what I think is going on.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. And Deborah saying, JC and Janine, I'm an Insider Access Pass member. Hey, thank you so much for that support. Really appreciate that. She can't figure out the Discord. Okay. Discord channel is this blue link here. This is the invitation to the Insider Access Pass Discord channel for our group, but you need to have your own Discord account created before you do that. So we don't support that end of it. So create your own account and then come back here and click that button and join that group conversation. And then you'll see the live scrolling feeds of everyone here in the group. So a big thank you to you, Deborah, and to all of you who joined us in the Insider Access Pass after Janine and I ended the coupon code after a couple of months of extending it. For you guys. So big thank you to you on that. And there's somebody asking again, hey, where's that link for the pyramids? I think Julie was asking that, or Stephanie I think was asking that. So let me bring that one back down. And the reason that is, folks, for some reason, Etsy is still messing around with Carla's website. So when you type in Ascension Organite in the search box, they're kind of like shadow banning her site. So let me bring that link down. And I think this is what happened to the other person who bought the wrong pyramids by mistake. He thought he was on the right one and he was not. So let me bring that link back down here. And I will also make sure to pin that in the description box below a few minutes after we end the show here tonight. Janine, crazy times. I think you and I might have to do some live reporting here in the next maybe 2 or 3 days. I want to remind the audience here of your Telegram account. So let me see if we can bring that up, seeing as you're still in jail here on your Sending Ravens YouTube channel. So folks, please do go and subscribe to Janine here at t.me/Tarot by Janine channel. I will bring that link down in the live chat now as well. Janine, you're having fun with this new Telegram account. You're moving really fast here in your numbers.
I'm super loving it. I don't know why, but it's a really fun sort of venue. I was so shadow banned on Instagram. And then I had that scammer always like scamming all my people. So it was really depressing. I'm sick and tired of shadow banned on Instagram. Now I'm all over Telegram. I'm really loving it so far. And anytime there's something we need to say, I'll just communicate it on Telegram. So just keep an eye on Telegram. If we do some lives, we'll have you informed on Telegram for sure.
Right. And while you're there on Telegram also, please do come over to Beyond Mystic Official. That is me as also. And I also post there, seeing as I've been getting some weird posts deleted from my Twitter as of late too. So I'm going to be even more prolific there moving forward. So that's t.me/beyond_mystic. Let me bring that up on the live chat there. Okay, so Janine, so you still are under strike here at Sending Ravens. It'll be a couple of days before you're able to post. Now, tomorrow, we might have to do some live emergency shows, maybe the day after also. So for the audience members who are looking for that, please come on over here to Beyond Mystic and subscribe here so you'll see our notifications if and when Janine and I go live here for some of these perhaps very crazy events that are about to go out, down here in the next couple of days. So you can find me at Jean-Claude at Beyond Mystic 3. Let me bring that link also down in the live chat for you guys so you can go and set your reminders. And speaking of reminders, on Friday night, a lot of you are asking for Woo Woo Dude. He is better. He's back at home and he's feeling in shape enough to come do a show with Joe and I on Friday night. So that will be part of the Wacky Woo starting at 8 o'clock Eastern on Friday. So please do join us for that one. Folks, a big thank you for this one tonight. Actually, Janine, words of wisdom. Something tells me there's more to stay here before we go. Can you pick some cards here, just à la carte or carte blanche here, to figure out what universe wants us to know? Because I figure we're at a tipping point here. Clearly, it's now here before us. What can the audience glean from the cards here before we go?
Interesting. So we've got the five of swords, which can be like fighting, inner fighting. I have noticed there's the crescendo of inner fighting. Also, we found out a lot of things were going on behind the scenes with the White Hats or the Alliance. Mr. T's team even has their share of inner fighting and dissent and weird stuff going on with General Flynn and all that kind of stuff. So it feels like we might also, that could be reflected in our communities, families, and as things ramp up, tensions get high and you're going to want to fight or argue, or do you know what I mean? And it could also be astrological. Okay, so within your communities, you might see a lot of inner sort of sniping going on and whatnot. I did get a lot of emails around, certain other truthers, and they're saying this and they're saying that. It's like, they get to say whatever they want. I don't have anything don't listen to them if you don't like it. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like you're going to, as things ramp up and we all get tense, just to remember to be fair, detached and watching. And just be ready, watching, and even with a sense of curiosity, because as things go down, you're prepared. You've been listening for a couple of years now, or even a year, or even 6 months. You are on it. You got this. Tell yourself that. Tell yourself you got this, and don't fall into, little pettiness and weird. You don't want to miss the whole show crescendo on, nasty emails to each other or slighting some other truther, or never mind.
And
This
thank
is
you for saying that too. And I agree with you.
all
You,
together.
the audience here, are prepared. And I pride myself on bringing people here with vast different points of views for you to be prepared. Because if you were here in an echo chamber listening to this type of information all day long, you wouldn't have access to everything else. Some of it might be true, some of it might not be true. But the point that we see the whole picture and we can converse as adults and be detached, as what Janine just said, this is what this show is all about. So don't worry. It's okay. We're having a conversation, but you are prepared if you've listened to all of this and you've integrated and analyzed all of this information to integrate that and use your own discernment. This makes you, the viewer, much, much more powerful than if you were still in an echo chamber on another channel. So a big big thank you for that, Janine. Really appreciate that. And a big thank you to all of you for joining us here tonight. Please, again, remember to like, share, and subscribe. And in the meantime, mosey on over to Tarot by Janine and mosey on over to Sending Ravens. Hopefully she'll be out of jail soon here at Sending Ravens, but do click that subscribe button anyways and show your support so YouTube stops messing with her. This was the Wednesday night edition of Tarot Reading. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I love you guys. Have a great day, and we might see you again sooner than later. Au revoir.
Au revoir.